I think I've said this before, but I had a sphincter contracting moment as soon as I read the title, and just thought, why? I watched it as a kid and it was great, but you know, the thigh-length boots and the capes and the monkey in a dog suit. I just didn't see the point until I read the script, and that spoke for itself. Actually, there was a 2-page sort of manifesto mission statement at the top, which I think David and Ron put together, and it was just, it was very bold, very ambitious, and it was basically trying to blow traditional sci-fi out the water with a real hard-edged, documentary-style, character-driven story. And the script lived up to every word of the mission statement, and every episode that we've done has pushed the boundaries even further. And it's a revelation to me. This whole process has been a revelation, because here we are 3 years down the line, and the quality of the first 4 episodes this year, I think, are better than we've ever had before, and it's just fantastic. It's great.
Well, Mary, I'm glad to know that you've kept your figure on the show. So,
wow.
At least we hope. But certainly in that final episode, she crossed a very bold moral line, and I was curious how that, when you saw that was going to happen, how you reacted to both that and also no longer being the first woman president on television. Whatever ABC had to say about it, you were the first. Yes.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I really loved the Jenny Craig comment. When I first read that moment, I was a bit panicked. I suppose that was
a bit
what I had to do. Oh, well, I probably had David online for about an hour. But I think by the time we shot it, I understood it. I understood the situation, and I understood the action, and I agreed with it. And sitting in that seat, I'm still angry I didn't pull it off. So that's kind of how completely I got behind it at that point. The interior world of my mind in relationship to events that are political and military has really changed a lot playing this part. So I have a very, hopefully a little more mature view of the complexity of these situations. So it really changed me. That's kind of what Jamie was saying. The experience of this has been kind of life-changing in a way, because we're being asked to go into places that are way beyond our immediate experience, and yet they're very relevant to the world's experience. And I think we've all changed along the way, and it's a welcome growth.
Did you see that possibility before you when you accepted again this role in this series, which by the title would seem to be just an action sci-fi show, but it is so much more than that, as you just said. So.
Well, I'd never seen Battlestar Galactica, so I did giggle a little bit because I just remember I knew that it was science fiction, and I kind of had an idea of what it was, but really basically I just had to read it, and that was that. It was so clearly in the zone. I think actors pretty much long to be connected to what's going on. And part of why we do this is so that we feel like we are connected to you, and that we get to be a part of what you're thinking and feeling and wanting. So when you read a piece like this, you go, okay, once again I lucked out, because this is right in the zone of what people need to think about and explore. So I pretty much just felt lucky.
Well, how would you describe the situation she finds herself in now, as in this new and very, very different season that we're going into?
It's very hard for me to put into words. I think that one of the most interesting things about it is that I'm not sick anymore, and I don't know what to do. I have these I just feel happy. Laura feels happy. You know what I mean? At times it's just sort of a different energy, and I'm kind of exploring that. What does that mean to not be really tired, and what does it mean to not be dying, and how to relate to all of this without that is kind of the internal.
You can start dying again.
Well, I'm sure I will. But for the moment, an episode or two, that's a big difference to me, and I think also my relationship with this guy, which we now have 2 children. No. Wow, that really took you a minute. No, my relationship to.
That's a lot for 1 year.
That really is. Yeah. Well, see, now, I know, I guess I have a little bit of Cylon DNA, so anything's possible. I thought perhaps I'd be blonde, but they didn't go for that. But I think that the relationship with the commander is a kind of an interesting thing now because we've been through some more. And it has a much more natural quality to it. It's less, it feels less riddled with issues. Of course, that could change any day, but that's kind of an interesting part of it.
And Edward, in terms of, you're right at the center of this debate from the teaser anyway about going back down. When do you go back down to, do the rescue or whatever it's going to be? But in terms of where they put you at this point, where would you say Adama is as this new season begins?
Dead in the water. Pretty much so. His life is pretty much almost over. You'll see as the series goes on. I think I'm heading that space where Ron and David are gonna adios it. Adama into oblivion.
You were waiting for the press release.